Hello, everyone, and welcome to the product group conversation. I'm Ulrika Lewinsky, and I'm the director of product management for the dev section. And I am here to answer any questions that you might have regarding products or the dev section. I see our agenda is pretty light, so I'll show, in the meantime, I'll talk a little bit about some exciting things that we have coming up in the dev section. They're on the slides in the agenda. So I'll start with a really exciting effort that we're talking about on the workspace update. I'm happy to announce that we're in the final phases of phase 2 of workspace. Everything within your GitLab space in GitLab.com, but also later on for self-managed users. The idea is to have a kind of an instance level for our SaaS users. The way that we started this project is bottom up. So we started with consolidating projects and groups to be the same object behind the scenes, which is the namespace. And I'm happy to report that phase 1, which was creating a project namespace, was already complete before. And in this quarter, we're finishing up the second phase, which is allowing to port things from the group level to the project level. So we finished routing and membership on project namespace, which, as I mentioned, will allow us to port over functionality from group to project already. Coming up in the next quarter, people can already start moving over the things. Another really exciting thing that we accomplished with completing this phase 2 is that for new features that we are delivering, if we implement them with this new namespace concept, they'll already support projects and groups from the get-go. So I'm really excited about that. I'll pause to see if there's any questions on the agenda.
Hey, Ulrika, how close are we to unbundling the admin screen of, we have the admin screen and self-managed, and some of those are like hardware features that we don't need, that people don't need on the SaaS, and some of those are features that should be at the group level. How close are we to unbundling that and getting rid of the old admin screen?
Sorry, I lost you, Sid. I think you asked how close we are to unbundling the admin screen functionality. So moving over the admin screen is part of migrating features over. So we're ready to do that. It's based on the Auth and their priorities. What we have done so far is we've found a way to move forward with moving administrative capabilities already to the group level. We've already delivered some of these capabilities by creating a parity view for group owners that look the same today if you're in SaaS or in self-managed. So we're happy about that accomplishment. And we're going to start moving over administrative capabilities, but only for provision users. So what we want to make sure is that if an enterprise owns a user, they can have control over their user and they can already start blocking, unblocking if needed. But what we want to make sure is that if I have a free community user who's contributing to my project, they don't get blocks from all the other namespaces. So we're going to start this with provision users and then move forward. I see that we have Christina on the line. Christina, I hate to put you on the spot, but Christina is the PM responsible for our workspace. So maybe you want to add some more details.
Yeah, thanks. So we're in the process at the moment of defining some UX and what that could look like. So the next step after we've done that should happen in the next 1 or 2 weeks. We also want to roll out the broader feedback issues so that everyone can take a look at what this could potentially look like. The idea right now is that it will look very similar to what is in self-managed. But I think you'll hear from me in the next couple of weeks as we bring this to the broader audience. that is captured here.
I also see that Hannah's here, so I'm going to put you on the spot as well, Hannah. Do you want to talk about moving over administrative capabilities? Hannah is our PM for our authentication and authorization group.
Yeah, this is definitely something that we are going to start doing. We actually have it tied to an OKR to make sure it gets done. So we'll be looking at starting to move things next quarter. And like Orit said, we do have some slightly differing admin experience based on if the users are enterprise or not, meaning they've been provisioned. And we're also working in a domain verification process where if you own a domain and you have that verified in GitLab, and then any user that falls under that domain technically belongs to you. So
Thanks for that. When are we at the point where the kind of the admin screen is unbundled, where all the relevant features are in groups and available to SaaS too?
What the team has been working on right now is identifying what can move to the group level and what makes sense. So I think we're currently in the design phase of kind of mapping that out, and then we're going to iteratively move things over based on the complexity and the different validation of what is needed first. So I don't have a good answer as to when, but we're definitely in the point of planning that, and we'll have a better way to answer the when probably soon.
Okay, and is there a list of all the features and what should move?
Yes, so we have an epic, I'll link it here in the agenda shortly, of moving administrative capabilities to the workspace. We've already identified what should be in the MVC for that, which is mainly around user management. And we already have some plans of what this will look like. It does not yet include everything, but I'll link the epic there as well so you can take a look.
Okay, is it the case that we need to make like a user management decision before we can completely unbundle it? Is that?
Not exactly. I think the main point here that we're trying to figure out is and I don't know if we have Mike on the call who's designing this, is we have different ways to solve this problem. One way is let's copy an admin panel for the workspace. I'm not sure that that's the path that we're gonna follow, but it's an idea. And then it's what makes sense to be at that top level and what makes sense to be at any namespace. Because we can do user management on a project level, we can do it on the group level. What does that mean for inheritance? What does that mean for permissions and so on? So there's a few open questions. I don't think unbundling is that difficult in terms of, what needs to move. That's going to be the first decision point, is here's what we're going to move. Here's what we're going to move in terms of the MVC and to give our customers the most value. And currently, our biggest pain point is those enterprise users who cannot control their users. So we want to answer their needs.
Cool. Thanks for that. The things that are not related to users, are those already completely moved, or is that not a priority because the user stuff is more important?
So we identified the user things as the most important. If you're talking specifically about the administrative capabilities. So there are some other issues that features that can probably move more easily, like the color schema or things like that, but those are lower priority. What we do want to do is identify features that are ready to be moved today and not necessarily administrative. For example, work items. In that matter, how do we make epics in the project level, or labels, which we've heard from customers that's very painful because they have to create labels duplicate times and it behaves differently based on where they are. So there's a lot of different features, and those are just two. I mean, any group can migrate at this point from group to project level and already be solving problems. So we're excited to be at that phase, but I'm not sure if you were asking just specifically on admin or just in general for features.
No, that answers my question. Thank you.
All right, I think I have the next question. So team, a great presentation. Congrats on all of the innovations in Value Stream Analytics and Dora metrics. They were a big hit when we did the GitLab 15 launch as well. So extremely valuable to the outside world and customers. Can you give us a flavor of what's coming next? And it looks like there's already some information in the doc, but maybe you can speak to it.
Yeah, Orit, I can take it if you want. Hi, this is Chaim. I'm product manager for Optimize and for the value stream management category. So for the short medium term, we are looking in more enhancement around Dora. We already have great feedback from customers that it's a great start. Some of the metrics, the APIs are working great, but especially in cases that are complex delivery deployment, for example, governments and others, we need to enhance more the APIs. Also, in order to improve the ability to have quick deep dive into the value stream performance, so we have more things that we plan to make it very easy to start from the high level value stream, from really kind of the big picture, and to help bring the user quickly, the ability to quickly drill down, to find the bottlenecks, to find the opportunities to improve. So this is another things that we are working on the design. We also have a strong request from our customers to add more and more customability options. So we are almost finished with the research and have some great ideas over there. And of course, keeping kind of trying to simplify things as much as possible and to make it easy to use as much needed. And so these are kind of the biggest things that we have ahead. But we are planning more and more validation. There are topics that we want to have more research, and we have also great collaboration from the sales team here. They have a lot of knowledge coming from them as well. So kind of for mid long term is still something that we are working on.
Great, thank you, Chaim.
Sherry, you're up.
Yeah, I just was looking at the response. I'm just wanting to get idea. Are we talking about quarterly, or are we talking about, you know, like for those major phases you outlined? When do we expect to see some results, and what kind of timeline you're looking at? Is in a year? I just want to get a sense, very high level, for the custom user roles and the granular permissioning. That's what I'm referring to.
All right. That is the million-dollar question. And every time I talk to a customer about this, they ask me the same thing. So we do have a big unknown with performance, and I linked to a pretty engineering heavy discussion on what adding custom roles and permissions will do to already sort of, I don't know, there's already a lot of performance considerations we have to consider, and now this adds a lot of complexity. But anyway, what I've been trying to say is I really hope that there's something our customers can touch and feel by the end of the year. So you're asking for like a high level ballpark. That's what I will give you, with the caveat that, again, it is until we have this constraint sort of figured out. I can't be 100% confident, but that's my best guess as of now.
Yeah, talking to a lot of customers using our enterprise provision users, some of the feedback we got is we did a lot of work in this space last year as well. I think some of our capabilities, definitely the feedback I got is better than what GitHub and Microsoft is providing. I just want to pass back that comment I got from some customers.
Thank you.
And I have a next question. So we have a lot of ask in the market or from the customers that our GitLab grouping on namespace and the grouping tend to be oriented by repositories, projects, app structure. But all the analytics, especially VSA, adoption, and compliance, or even our security posture, like the scorecard. Recently, we have a customer asking if they can roll up differently that more mimic their business units. So it might be a slightly different grouping from application delivery or technology delivery. It's more of the aligned to the business. So is there work carried out to provide this kind of logic grouping in our workspace or compliance group work?
So if I understand the question correct, right, is if you're asking, are we going to create another type of hierarchy in terms of projects and groups? The answer is not in the scope of Workspace. Workspace is that top level namespace, the top level group, if you will. So it would cascade everything that has below it. So again, if you're thinking of the top level group, it would show all the repos beneath it aggregated. There are some epics around maybe introducing the concept of teams at GitLab, but it's not currently an initiative that's being worked on. But it is something that we're thinking about. I will say that there are some workarounds to kind of get behind that, and that's with making use of labels. Because if you label things in a different fashion, you can group them in a different way. So VSA heavily relies on labels. So if someone were to use a label for a specific team or something like that, they could view their process based on that label. So they could use it that way.
Yeah, that's what we recommended as well. Yeah, thanks for that. And some customers just use our API, pull the data, then they map it in their own dashboard in a way that mimics their organizational roll-up. So both options we have seen being used.
Would you mind elaborating on your question specifically to the compliance work?
Well, also compliance, sometimes how the compliance definition is also come down based on, let's say, a regulatory requirement applied to some business units. Let's say there is an anti-money laundering, then applied to a set of applications or a set of groups that might not mimic the application hierarchy. It's a more aligned to the business function. So how that is defined. It's still propagate down and end the project level, the repository. But the initial setup could represent a little bit differently, almost like an agile. If you think about agile groups, that group hierarchy can be very different from the delivery grouping. I think Gabe showed a lot of examples to show the organizational structure from agile practice and the planning, then translate or map that to delivery team. So I think from compliance, it's a similar type of ask, but I'm just thinking workaround could be how we do agile as well.
Yeah, I was just going to verbalize. I think this is something that I commonly hear, especially where you have basically within your hierarchy in GitLab, you can set up for one thing, right? And you have to pick which one thing you want to use it for and be intentional about that up front. Where if you wanted to use it to model groups and projects to model your value stream, or if you want to use it to model your organizational hierarchy, which one of our customers that I just talked to, that's how they started, and they realized they should have done it in their value stream. So now they're figuring out how to transfer and reorg basically everything in GitLab. But I think it's just the common thing where you have a hierarchy model, which we have. And then in reality, though, there are multiple hierarchies within an organization that are used for different things in terms of the knowledge architecture. And so I just linked to some of the fun challenges, like how we at GitLab ourselves are structured from an HR perspective, and like a reporting structure, and then what like our product topology structure looks like, and our layers there, and then what our actual like group and subgroup and project structure look like. They're all completely different. And I think that's what some of our customers struggle with as well.
And I'll comment from the compliance perspective. We definitely hear that compliance teams are concerned with a lot more than a single project. They frequently have responsibility for an entire business unit or division. And so that's definitely something we keep top of mind as we build compliance related capabilities. As we work on our iteration plans for how we want to bring capabilities out, generally it's going to be faster for us to do our MVCs at a project level, understand the complexities, the edge cases that we need to solve for on that feature without expanding the scope to all those edge cases for groups and larger units. And then in subsequent iterations, expand that from just the project level to the group level. To give them that set of controls over the entire business unit or division, like you're mentioning. So definitely something we keep in mind.
Thanks, Sam. Thanks, Gabe.
Well, it looks like there are no more questions on the agenda. Does anyone have one ad hoc?
I just want to thank Pam to work with us to look at how to integrate our value stream analytics with Jira and potentially other tools. That is one of the top asked by a lot of customers. So thank you for the effort. Hopefully we will come to a place where we have a clear direction and what to implement.
Yeah, we definitely will make it. And yeah, thank you for the feedback. And so we are really looking into the details, and this is as well great opportunity for us, to complete the picture for customers that have using Jira for issues.
Great. Well, I want to thank everyone for joining our group conversation and for anyone tuning in on the live stream. Thank you for the great questions and the great feedback. Bye.
Thanks, Urit.